Have you ever been in that situation though where you're like looking at a person maybe from a distance and you think it like a cute girl and it ends up being a dude or like vice versa?
Nope. That's kind of weird.
I've been bluffed at the gym now twice over the last like course of a month because I saw
Probably
this,
a lot more now.
I saw this thing and I'm like, oh, that's a nice chest, and I had like this nice butt, or I thought it was a nice butt, and I got a little bit closer and I think it might have been like a transition, but regardless, it didn't work well. And then the other one, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting looking dude, and it was a legit chick. So I've been bluffed twice now. Only one bad one where I was like, yeah, that's not a bad looking person, and I think it ended up being a guy.
I think you see it a lot more now that like guys are having long hair, and then you're like checking out their butts. And you like turn around, it's like, oh, that's not a chick, that's a dude. You know, it's like I just thought that dude had a nice butt.
I hope to God that everyone listening to this podcast for the first time ever is like, what in the hell are we getting ourselves into?
Oh yeah.
Well, let's just get loaded. Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast.
But we never finish first because we finish last.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben Morgan. That is DJ Primo. And if this is your first time listening, you are in for a treat because we are doing part 2 of our NFL over-under team win totals. And today we will be focusing in on the NFC. DJ, I know you're an NFC guy. You got to be pretty pumped up for this one versus doing the AFC, which you still brought it. You still brought it, but you're an NFC guy.
Yeah, I'm a football guy though. I'm a football guy.
Well said.
football guy.
Thank you to the loyal listeners who are tuning in. I think this is episode 128 or 129. Thank you to those who have listened to every single episode along the way. And if you are a brand new listener, we don't typically talk about dudes' butts in the intros unless we have Mitchell Renz on or something like that. But DJ is married and I am engaged to both the females, so we're in the clear there. But
it's
man,
okay.
sometimes you get fooled. And I have terrible eyes. I'll be the first to admit I have terrible eyes, and I got played at the gym. So I got to put my blinders up moving forward here. No more checking out chicks at the gym, especially when some of them turn into dudes.
Play's gonna play.
Oh, damn it. Let's jump into this before we say anything else that's too incriminating. The NFC East.
More like the NFC Yeast, because these guys are a bunch of infected pussies.
All right, well done. I think we can wrap this one up. That was a loaded box podcast. That was fantastic.
All right.
Well, as we did for the AFC in last episode, if you haven't checked that out, go back and listen to that one as well. But we're doing win totals that were set by Vegas with the recent news of sports gambling being legalized, when it's up to the states now to kind of determine whether or not they're going to be doing that. We thought, hey, we got to do this. NFL, Vegas set the lines on teams' win totals, and we're going to be doing over-under. So we always wanted to do one. Perfect timing with that news coming out. Like I said, we just did the AFC. Now we're moving on to the NFC. And as we did in the AFC, we'll say the 4 teams in the division, what their win totals combined to be. And in the NFC East, as you perfectly called it, Vegas has them at only 32 wins, which was just tied for just the 5th most. So Vegas isn't very high on the NFC East. So let's start with the Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. Vegas has them set at 10.5.
I've got the Eagles going over 10.5 wins this year. Combination of great coach with Doug Peterson, coach that I wish a Green Bay Packers type coach that I could have, innovative. Listen, they just won the Super Bowl with their backup quarterback, right, who was inferior to their starter. Let's not get that twisted. And to me, in my opinion, after not buying into Carson Wentz for 15 weeks, second best quarterback in the league. All right, second best quarterback in the NFL, and I think we're looking at a talent that we can finally find somebody who is maybe comparable to Aaron Rodgers for the first time. I think he's got that good of a skill set. They're going to be good for a long time. They just continued to get better this offseason and add guys. I would bet again. I don't think you're going to get very good odds on it, but if I'm gonna, this is one of the ones that I like. I mean, you don't get good odds because they're more likely to happen. So I'm betting 10.5. This is a team I'd put money on winning over 10.5 games.
Yeah, just like we did for the AFC.
I don't care what their schedule looks like. I looked at it, but I don't even care.
Just like what we did for the AFC, I'll do my over/under, but then also state whether it's one of my actual picks or not. And this one is not one of my actual picks because I have them going 10-6, so that's a game either way of going over/under. So I guess I'm technically going to say under, but I'm not touching it because that's a big total. Considering the health and the unknown of Carson Wentz. He got hurt so late last year, I don't know what to predict. And I think they opened the season with the first game of the NFL. I think it's Eagles-Falcons. So
nope, you're close, though.
Am I close?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
you're right.
Bang. Yeah, have them the winning 10, but, man, that's a tough way to start the year, and especially if you don't have your starting quarterback. Like you said, they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. They went through the entire playoffs with Nick Foles. I don't think it's a huge drop-off, but you do have Super Bowl hangovers. You do have regressions. You do have an injured quarterback. They added more to an already good defense. They're still my favorite to win the East. They're just not a team that I'm going to put money on going over 10.5 wins.
Man, when you have the coach and the quarterback combination, I mean, look at Tom Brady, look at Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they're consistently winning that, 10 to 13, 14 15 games a year. You've seen both those guys do. So I when you have a quarterback that good, I don't see much regression.
Let's go. Eddie?
Any regression.
Let's go on to Dallas. Vegas has their win total set at 8.5.
The Cowboys I have going over 8.5 wins. I know lots of people are on the Cowboys. I'm on it as well. They had O-line issues last year. They had Zeke issues last year. You're getting both those hopefully back healthy and a healthy Zeke. I think what's changed the whole dynamic of this team. Plus that defensive line is pretty damn good on that team with what's his name at linebackers. Just in the front seven in general is pretty solid. I see a big bounce back year for them. Their weakness is obviously going to be they don't really have a tight end. Slacking at wide receiver position. I mean, who they get? Alan Hearns, and then they have Michael Gallup that they got, all young guys. But I mean, with a combination of Zeke, it's going to give those guys a chance to have more one-on-one coverage because you're going to focus on him. And Dak's not. I don't think you're going to see. I think you did see him regress because he was in his second year again. It was one of those situations where guys you get a little more tape on him. Second year comes a little harder. He's got to come back, study good. I think he's a very smart quarterback who'll come back. He'll figure it out. And he'll bounce back this year.
I actually have them. I would have to go under on this one. I have them going 8-8. So once again, not one. That's one of my ones that I'm going to be betting on because of the fact I'm not sold on anything on this team outside of Zeke. You got rid of Dez. You don't have Witten anymore. Terrence Williams just got flagged for drunken driving. You got Coles Beasley, and you have a rookie outside of Zeke. I'm not scared by that. I predicted Dak not having a good year last year. If you're going to solely focus on having a ground game, and that's great. They have a great offensive line, and Zeke, you couldn't ask for a better guy to have to rely on. So I think they'll be close to that win mark. Obviously, Vegas knows exactly what they're doing. 8.5 is a realistic number. I'm just not – I can't go over that because of what they have outside of Zeke right now. I'm just not a big fan. I'm not going to be targeting any of those guys in fantasy. If I have one of the top picks, I'll target Zeke, obviously. But just in general, not a huge fan of that offense. Not a big fan of the defense either. I think they're going to struggle to get to that 9 win mark that you would need for this. So technically taking under, but more technically not adding it to my list of teams to even bet on. That's it.
That's all I got.
All right, perfect. Let's go on to the Giants. The new home of Saquon Barkley. Vegas has their total at 7.5.
I mean, you know how again, this is another team where I'm just like, I see this quarterback. I mean, 7, they're under. There's an under this win. The schedule is just brutal for the Giants. It's more brutal when your team's not as good. You'll be like, it's obviously going to be harder when you don't think the team's that good. So it's more brutal because they're not that good. I love Odell Beckham. I love Saquon. Draft them in your fantasy leagues. They're going to be excellent. But Eli stinks, and he's going to continue to throw it. He is Joe Flacco. He's going to continue to make dumb mistakes and throw interceptions and have a stupid fucking face. Defense, I mean, they're not great either. So I just don't. I don't like the makeup of this team. I don't even know how. Is McAdoo still coaching there? He didn't get fired, right?
Oh, he's gone. He's long gone.
Oh, he is gone. Sorry. Yeah. Well, either way, they suck. I don't like anything that they're doing. I don't like that they still are playing Eli Manning. He's just not good. But yeah, I'm kind of just circling around what I said there.
Yeah, I love, obviously, everyone likes Saquon Barkley. There's not anyone out there that says, oh, I'm not a huge fan of Saquon. He's going to suck in the NFL. That's fine. They took him. They're all in on him. That's fine. Whatever. I still will go to the grave saying that they should have taken a quarterback. This was the year. They had the second overall pick. You had a class that was legit 4, probably deep at quarterback, maybe 5, depending on what your feels are on like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. But just this was their opportunity to kind of hit the reset button. I don't think they're in like a win now mode by any means. I don't think Saquon's that guy that takes him over the top. I do think that they're going to be better, I think, with an improved offensive line, with Eli maybe having a little bit more confidence, with McAdoo out of the way, with a healthy Odell Beckham, with a healthy Sterling Shepard, second year of Evan Ingram. There's a chance there. I really thought,
Evan Ingram's good.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have the Giants probably be one of those bounce-back teams. But then you go through that schedule, and I had them going 7-9. So obviously with an over-under of 7.5, I'm going under. But it's the story of this division for me is don't touch it. I'm not touching any of the teams in this division. We'll get to the Redskins, but this is not one that I would bet on.
Redskins.
You good to go on the
words.
Redskins? Oh, the R word?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Jesus Christ.
Let's go on to the R words, who Vegas has Washington at 5.5 wins with the new quarterback in Alex Smith.
Yeah, I know we recently had Zach, whatever his last name is on, who's an R.
Zach. Sorry, Zach. DJ is an asshole.
Who's an R words fan, and I'm giving a little shit about how he's got them over, and he's always optimistic, and this is just the standard. The hometown upgrade that you give your team, you always think they're going to get over what Vegas says. And I'm going to be in that same category, except my team's just better than your guys' favorite team, so I'm just lucky. But I have them going under 5.5 wins this year. I'm not going to bet it. 5.5 wins is low, but I have them going. I think they're going to be down there in the top 5 picks in the NFL this next year, so I think they're going to be terrible. I think Smith is a downgrade at quarterback from Kirk Cousins. I don't think Darius. Everybody loves this guy's situation. I don't think I watched this guy's tape. I don't see something that I don't that translates to the NFL. I don't think he's going to be a good running back. I don't like this team. I think the management is a mess. It's going to blow up in their face. I said this last year. It's going to happen again. They're not a good football team. They don't really know what they're doing in management-wise. I have them under 5.5. I think it's just. I don't like teams that just seem to be messy, because then you have internal issues and people that stop playing and all that shit that you have to deal with.
Yeah, when I went through and jotted down all the totals for the teams, I saw Washington at 5.5, and I was like, wow, I'm definitely going to have this over, because they added Alex Smith, who is always around that 500 mark or above that. He's a double-digit winning guy. He'll make you to the playoffs, and then he's gonna lose in the first round. Like, that's kind of where I see this going. But then I go through the schedule. Only had him going 5-11. So yeah, I'm gonna go under here. But like I said with the division, it's not one that I'm keying in on. I think that the defense made some nice improvements. I think that they kind of did the right thing in the draft and with free agency. And I am the opposite side. I do like Darius Geis. I think he's gonna get a good shot to get the bulk of the carries. I think he'll do fine. It's just the entire piece. It's a tough schedule. I just don't see him. That 6 to 7 range would be the ceiling, and it just with that much uncertainty, I'm not willing to actually risk money on them hitting that ceiling of like those 7 wins. So for that, I guess I'm going under. But for me, once again, it's a no bet.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be. They're just not going to be good. It's just what it is.
Let's go on to a pretty intriguing division because of the Rams and the 49ers, basically, because of all the crazy offseason moves that the Rams have made going all in right now, and the 49ers with the addition of Jimmy Garoppolo and his perfect record. But Vegas has them set at 32 wins, tied for the fifth most, just because they don't have anyone over double digits, because I think they think everyone's going to beat each other up in the division, and then you have Arizona, who's under 6. But let's kick it off with the Rams, who Vegas has at 9.5.
I don't think everybody's going to beat each other up in the division. I think the Rams are going to beat up everybody else. I think I don't. This scares me because Vegas knows more than me. And you see these superstar teams get put together as the Rams have done, and then they seem to disappoint. I don't think you see that situation because this team has a better coach and a better quarterback than those teams that have typically done that. I mean, with Jared Goff just getting better from his first, tremendously better from first, second year.
Gosh, yeah.
The way they used Todd Gurley, the way McVay used Todd Gurley, they've got something here. They added in Dominican Sue. That just definitely isn't going to make you any worse. That's for sure. Good team.
Talib, Marcus Peters, the list goes on.
Sam Shields, even there. But good team, tough schedule. Good team, great coach with a good quarterback. I have them going over. I think they go over pretty easily, and I could be fooled because Vegas. This one made me nervous because I was like, "Wow, how is it 9.5?" I thought they should be at 10.5.
Yep.
For the over under, but I'm gonna fall into this Vegas trap and go over. I just don't think the rest of that. You'll see what I think about the rest of the division after this, and that's part of what I'm basing this on.
Yeah, you literally said what I was gonna say. This looks like a huge trap. I thought for sure 10.5, 11 wins here, and I saw 9.5. I'm like, oh, that's got to be more than double digits. Look at how good they were last year. Look at all the pieces they added on defense, especially. They didn't really lose all that much. I mean, they lost Sammy Watkins, but they weren't making him a focal point anyways. I have to go over. I'm willing to bet this one. This is one on my bet list. I have them going 13-3. I think I'm a little bit high on that, but man, take away 3 of those wins and you still got 10. This is just one that I really like. I see them winning the division. I think you need double digits to win this division. So yeah, I'm going over everything you said and more, man. It's a huge trap though. It just screams trap.
Yeah, that was the thing that scared me the most. It scared me the most was the 9.5, but I didn't understand that number.
Another one that seemed fairly low based on how they ended the year with Garoppolo was the 49ers. Vegas only has them at 8.5.
I think Vegas nailed this one, personally. I have them over, but it's like a question mark after it.
You think Garoppolo's going to lose a game in the NFL?
Yeah, no. I have them going 9-7 at a glimpse. I do my full schedule breakdown around August, where I actually go and do win by win or game by game and decide win losses for each team. Mm-hmm. This one I just did a glance went through quickly through each team and looked at what they're playing against. But I mean, if you look at their first 6 games, they have Minnesota game 1, and they have Green Bay, and then they play at Minnesota, at the Chargers, and at Green Bay in their first 6 games. I mean, they're going to be 3-3 at best after 6 games. So that's kind of a tough start, I think.
Oh, for sure.
So it's hard for me to be on the board with the over, but I think that number is a really good line by Vegas, in my opinion. Yeah. And I'm always one to sit back and wait on the quarterback. I've said this again. I'm not in on Deshaun. I'm sucking at Deshaun Watson, and I'm gonna sit and wait on Jimmy G. I'm not gonna sit here and think that he's just what he was in the first. He also is a guy that threw a ton of interceptions right away. So,
yeah, according to me going through game by game of every single week, I had them going 11-5. So you would think with the over/under set at 8.5, and I've got them at 11 wins, that this would be hands down one of my games. But I'm not doing it. I do, for our sake, I'm taking the over, but it's not one that I'm betting on because of falling for that fool's gold in Jimmy Garoppolo. We've seen it too many times where you have this quarterback, he comes in, he provides a spark to the team, they get these wins, he puts up decent stats, but as you always go to, you get an off season of watching film, preparing for these guys, learning a little bit more about them, and they kind of seem to come back down to earth a little bit, and that could very well be what happens to the 49ers, but I like what they're doing. I think he's going to end up doing well with Kittle. I like the addition of Jerick McKinnon. they're okay on the outside. I like a couple of things. I still wish they would have gotten Allen Robinson. I thought that would have been the piece to kind of put them over the top. But they're improving on defense. As long as Reuben Foster doesn't have any more girls trying to get him for his money, like he could be in the mix. The defense is strong as well. I think the division, like the next two teams that we're going to talk about, are a little bit lower. So I think it's going to be a race between the Niners and the Rams. So with it being set at 8.5, I have to go over. But once again, not one that I'm throwing my money on.
Yeah, I had one other thing I was going to say about it that popped in my head and then it immediately left, so maybe I'll come back to it eventually.
Fair enough. In the meantime, we'll go on to the Seattle Seahawks, who I'm interested to hear your take, because I almost feel like you've never really said it, but I feel like you're like a closet Seahawks hater. And
I fucking hate the Seahawks.
Okay, it's out of the closet.
What do you mean? I mean, just being a Packer fan, they're just annoying, and just everybody that eats Russell Wilson's dick every year and then you see them progressively getting worse. It's like the best. They're proving me right more and more every single year since their Super Bowl. I love it.
Yeah, and Vegas has their win total at 8.5. So I'm assuming you're under.
Oh yeah, I'm way under. I think they'll be lucky to win 7 games this year. Lucky. The whole thing's falling apart, right? I mean,
seems that way. Damn.
Everybody's leaving there. Sherman's gone. Earl Thomas is still there, but it doesn't seem like he wants to be there. That's a big question mark. The offensive line doesn't exist. They didn't really do much to improve it. They drafted a running back, but he's not going to be able to run because they don't have an offensive line. Russell Wilson's going to continue to run around like a chicken with his head cut off. And the only reason they were winning before is because of their defense. Now that defense is gone, and the offensive line still sucks. They didn't make any improvements. They just got worse. Worse than last year when the year they didn't make the playoffs. They're going to be dramatically worse this year. I think 7 games would be optimistic for them.
I think their offensive line did enough. I think they did enough to address it where it's not going to be near as shitty as it was. And everyone gives the Rashad Penny pick in the first round a bunch of shit, and I'm one of those people. I don't think it was justified as a first rounder. But at least maybe, if there's a silver lining in this, at least maybe they look at him and say, this is our guy. We're going to commit to him. We don't need to get 3 running backs who are all just average. Maybe this is our guy. Maybe they can actually commit to a running game and get something going. I still have them going under. I'm with you on that. I have them going 7 and 9. There's something about Russell Wilson. I'm not his biggest fan in the world, but his ability to extend plays, and I think he needs to have any quarterback behind that offensive line the last couple of years. That's the number one attribute you can have is extending plays because it was a weekly basis. He was doing Tim Tebow things where he would run backwards from left to right, do a spin move, throw a Hail Mary to Doug Baldwin, he'd catch it. That's literally what their offense was successful with, and that's not something you want to tie to. That's not something you can rely on. I do see him taking a step back. You nailed it with the defense. It's not what it was. It used to just be awesome, front line, back line. Now it's kind of hit or miss. Everyone seems to just be leaving. So this franchise, this dynasty that they built, faded so fast. So under, but not. It's not a huge play for me. I don't feel too strong about it. I would bet on it, but it wouldn't be one of my more expensive high bets.
Look at this. Think about this. They traded away their All-Pro center to the Saints for Jimmy Graham, and now they don't have either.
Right.
What
That's
the
gonna
fuck?
hurt too.
Yeah. They don't have either one of those guys.
As
they don't really have weapons.
No, I'm with you. Let's go on to the Arizona Cardinals. Vegas stuck their total at 5.5 wins.
The Arizona Cardinals, I have, I'm a big Josh Rosen fan. I think he's going to be very successful. But the Cardinals are definitely in rebuild mode. Sam Bradford's going to start and get hurt probably. So Josh Rosen, sorry about that. Josh Rosen will get thrown into play, but I just think it'll be a tough year right away. I've got them going under 5.5. I'm not confident in that, but I think they have a great future. But their defense is still a work in progress as well. They need to find somebody to replace Larry Fitzgerald after this, which is probably his last year. It seems pretty clear that that's going to be happening. So, they could win 7 games. I don't know. I'm not going to bet on it, but I have them as now at 5 wins, which puts them under 5.5. But not 100% confident on that.
You would think that if Sam Bradford can come in and if he can develop a little bit of chemistry with the guys they have, including Fitzgerald, like you said, and if David Johnson can come back and be 90 to 95% of what he was, that team on offense should be able to get the job done, score some points, and their defense isn't as dominant as what it was at one point either. But I mean, it's still like enough to keep them in games, and with that offense, I think they can outscore some people. But like you said, Bradford and trying to rely on him for 16 games is far from certain. I'm a big Rosen fan, but I still don't like betting on a rookie quarterback right away. So 5.5 games, yeah, can they go over? For sure. But on this one, I went through the schedule. I haven't gone 5-11, so I guess I'm taking under, but add it to my list of definitely not touching this year.
I think if you see Rosen play, it's going to be similar to Rodgers' first year, where he's going to put up huge numbers but lose games because defense isn't going to be as good. He's still figuring it out. But I think you're going to see big numbers out of him if he gets a shot, and they're still going to lose. I mean, it's going to be that you're going to see the greatness there. I mean, everybody could tell that Aaron Rodgers, after his first year, which was, I think, 6-10, he was going to be good. You could just see it. It's just that the whole team wasn't put together around him at that point. It wasn't gel. I think that same thing is going to happen with Rosen.
Yeah, I think that could be a good comp of how it goes. If he gets action and if Bradford doesn't get to finish out the year, that could be a good comp where he flashes, but the wins just don't translate until a year or two down the road. Let's go to the NFC North, who Vegas has pegged as the best division with 35 total wins. Both the Vikings and the Packers at 10.5. We'll start with the Vikings because. 10.5 wins. What do you got them at?
I've got them under.
Oh, you asshole.
Yeah, 10.5 wins. I have them at 10-6, actually. So just under. I think you're going to see a little regression on defense. They're having to deal with Aaron Rodgers this year. I think the Bears are going to be better. I think Detroit's going to be a little bit worse, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them. I think the Bears are going to – I don't know what's on – let me get to the Bears when we get to the Bears because I'm excited about that one. But, the schedule for the NFC North is a tough one. I just think – I don't know. I just don't think Kirk Cousins is going to come in and be what everybody expects him to be with this offense and not going to gel right away as much as they think he's going to be. And I still think – one of his biggest issues was the red zone. That was the one thing that he struggled on. Yeah, it wasn't. They didn't score in the red zone. They just struggled to do that. So he'll have Dalvin Cook back and all that stuff, and Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Everybody's really excited about, but I think Cousins may take a bit to get him going. I think you're going to see some frustration out of. I think you're going to see some frustration out of Vikings fans, but I think you're also going to see coaches almost maybe think they can rely on Cousins more than what they should be, just because they think he's that much of a better quarterback than Keenum was. And I think they're going to go away from their game of playing slow, and it's going to affect them a little bit more because they have such a good defense.
I agree. They should definitely try to if you can try to make Dalvin Cook your focal point, that'd be ideal because you're only going to make Rudolph, Thielen, Diggs better. Yeah. I went through the schedule. I have them going 12-4. It feels a little aggressive with a new quarterback. I'm not gonna lie. I like Cousins. I'm not bad. I think he is technically better than what they have, but you never know how they're gonna gel, how they come together when it actually gets down to being on the field. So I kind of like this, but once again, it's gonna fall into my list that I'm taking it over, but it's not gonna be one of my actual bets. I don't think they're like the Jaguars, but they have that team where you can rely on your defense and you don't need to go crazy and try to outscore everybody like you're saying. Don't put the ball in Cousins' hands more than you have to just because you have this guy who you think is now your franchise leader. Still rely on Cook, still play smart. Yeah, give Cousins some opportunities throughout the game to make plays, but don't make him be the focal point and the reason that you're losing games. I agree with you on that, but I am going to go over the 10.5.
Clearly.
12 wins, baby. All right, here we go. Your turn. Green Bay Packers, 10.5.
I'm going to say over, duh. Find me. I looked through this. I found 11 wins in 5 seconds with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, which I'm always going to assume is all year. He's the best quarterback in the game. They do have a tough schedule, but look, they improved on defense here. They added 2 top-tier cornerbacks that potentially. I thought both of them should have gone in the first round. They got 2 in my opinion, first-round cornerbacks. They've got Kevin King from last year. Their defensive line depth, I think you're going to see huge, massive improvement just out of the defense in general. I think because you can't really get much worse than what they were. They're like 30th against the pass or whatever, somewhere in that area.
So you get 31st or 32nd.
Yeah, I think they're going to jump up and they're going to be it's going to be like a Saints improvement. I honestly believe with Penton, the new coordinator, he's going to use HaHa Clinton Dix actually correctly and not try to make him play center field. Didn't make any sense. The young guy in Josh Jones that'll be out there just running around hitting people. And then the 3 cornerbacks plus a couple of veterans they have to help them along, and that defensive line depth that they've maintained. I don't know if people realize how good that defensive line is in Green Bay. They are superb, and they have depth with the addition of Muhammad Wilkerson. If they can keep teams under 20 points or around 21 points or less a game, Aaron Rodgers is going to win those games already. So, yeah, I can easily say them winning 12 to 13 games this year as long as Mr. Aaron Rodgers is on the field.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you're thinking 10 to 12 wins easily, right? I mean, that's like a guarantee.
Yeah, I wouldn't even, yeah.
If Rodgers goes down, I see this being a way under, though.
He's not going down. Don't even talk like that. Don't even fucking talk like that. That pisses me off.
It happens. He's kind of soft.
You're going to go down pretty soon if you keep talking like this.
Rodgers is kind of soft.
Don't need that kind of negativity around here.
I just need to get a little bit of payback for after you just hammered me with the Dolphins in that last episode. So, going through the schedule, got them going 10-6. A little conservative because of what they have outside of Rodgers. I know Rodgers is good for double-digit wins because he's going to elevate the play of those around him. I love the picks of the cornerbacks. I'm with you on that, but I see that being 2 to 3 years down the road before they are okay, yep, this is what we're going to have. I don't see it being this instant upgrade. That rarely happens. I think that Saints transition is a little bit more of an outlier. I don't see that repeating. You talked about that schedule. Weeks 5 through 12 is brutal. At Detroit versus the 49ers, you've got your bye.
Yep, that
At
helps.
the Rams, at the Patriots. First, the Dolphins, the toughest one of the bunch.
Yeah, the Dolphins are a big worry of ours at home.
At Seattle and at Minnesota.
Again, yeah.
So I know you're not high on Seattle, but
no,
I mean,
neither one of those two teams worry me there.
Okay, but in Seattle, I mean, that's just always been a little bit tricky over the last 5 to 10 years. At Detroit's going to be tough. The 49ers, I kind of like the 49ers. The Rams, we both think they're going to be one of the best in the league. At New England, we talked about that in the AFC episode. That's almost a guaranteed loss. The Dolphins, last time they played at Green Bay, the Dolphins won. So there might be a miracle in there. And then you've got at Minnesota as well. That is a brutal schedule. So, yeah, I want to go over it, but I just can't because of that stretch. And because of what happens if Aaron Rodgers goes down, there's nothing there.
But look at the bye. I mean, look where the bye falls. He couldn't fall in a more perfect position there.
I agree.
San Francisco, they get at home. Again, I don't think San Francisco is going to be that good, so I'm not worried about them. They sweep Detroit. They sweep the Bears, in my opinion. They split with the Vikings. And then they're going to win one of the 2 games against the Rams or against New England. And I think they beat the Rams and lose to New England because they're playing the Rams right out of that bye. So that couldn't be a more perfect thing happening. And then, maybe they lose to Minnesota in that. So I think 2 losses out of your 5 games there.
I don't know, man. When Rodgers gets hurt in week 4 and you got Deshaun Kaiser going through that gauntlet, man, that's going to be a tricky to get.
I'm going to fucking murder you if you say Aaron Rodgers is hurt one more time.
Sorry, man. If I don't draft him in fantasy, he's fine. If I draft him, man, you're screwed.
Suck my dick.
No. The Detroit Lions, Vegas has their total at 7.5. Let's hear what you got.
I'm going under. It's same shit, different year, right? The defense is still bad. I don't think they really did much to improve that. They're going to struggle, and then they're just going to rely on Matt Stafford. Even though they drafted a running back, they're going to do the same shit. They're going to be down in games. Their defense is going to give up points. They're going to rely on Stafford to throw the ball, and they're not even going to use that fancy new draft pick that everybody thinks is going to be an improvement in Kerryon Johnson there. It has nothing to do with the running backs that come in there. It's all about the game plan, and they're just going to throw the ball. That's what they do. It's the same shit. They're going to maybe win probably 4 out of their first 5 games or something like that because that's what they do, and then they'll just suck after that.
I think Detroit is complete right now, kind of well-rounded enough to be like around a 500 team. So I see 8-8 kind of as that floor. Going through the schedule, I gave them 9 wins, so I like the over here. And actually, this is one that I would put a small bet on going over. I like the playmakers on offense. I like the Blunt, Kerryon Johnson backfield tandem. Like you said, if they can actually commit to him a little bit, I like that. Then you've got Tate, Marvin Jones, Kenny Golladay on the outside. I like that. They still lack a playmaker at tight end, but whatever. Matt Stafford ignored Eric Ebron anyways.
They still don't have a go-to wide receiver either. I mean, they don't have a guy.
Neither do the Patriots.
Yeah, but they don't have Tom Brady either.
No, but Matt Stafford's like Matt Stafford.
They just don't have a guy.
I like Matt Stafford. I'm going to go over here. This is actually one that I do like. 9 wins. I felt like I was being even a little bit hard on them just because I do like the Packers with Rodgers and I do like the Vikings. So I was a little hard on the Lions right now, but 7.5, I really like that. I think 8-8 is their floor. Give me 9 wins and give me the Lions for the over.
I'll take that action all day.
All right, we'll talk after. Let's go on to the Bears. Over-under set at 6.5 after a ton of off-season additions.
Listen, I love the fucking Bears. All right,
Ooh, that's the first time you've ever said that out loud.
I know, right? This is my lock of the NFC. They're gonna go over 6.5 wins.
Look at that.
Oh yeah, easily. And I think they're gonna be the closest thing. Like there's not going to be a this year's blah blah blah. Like we always say, who's going to be this year's David Johnson or this year's, and then the next year it's a new guy. You don't even talk about that guy. But this is going to be the closest to this year's Rams. Like I think Mitch Trubisky is going to have that Jared Goff type jump. I think he's going to, with the benefit from the new offense coordinator they've got there, new coach they've got in there. He'll be able to not hand it off 35 times a game to Jordan Howard. He's got Allen Robinson. They got Anthony Miller, the rookie out there. I really like the addition of Allen Robinson for that sake as well. But he's also got the combination of Howard and Tarek Cohen at the running back position, which is going to be huge. And I think that not running as much with Howard is going to significantly help Howard because he was just getting the ball every fucking other down. It was ridiculous. Honestly, fantasy-wise, I'm going to squad up. I'm telling you right now, I'm squadding up with some Bears offensive players this year. And I never say this. Like, I will draft Trubisky in round, 14, and I have a feeling he's going to end up being my starter most of the year. And I'm going to try to get Howard. I'm going to try to get Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller. I'm going to be jumping on offensive guys.
That's going to be an interesting-ass fantasy
team. They have Trey Burton and what's his other, Adam Shaheen there. They've got a bunch of weapons, man. I think they're going to surprise people. I think they'll be around 8 wins.
I appreciate that you're taking a bold take and you're letting everyone know, hey, if I'm making a bet in the NFC on over/under win total, this is my one.
And I'm a Packers fan, so I'm not being a bias or anything.
Right.
Like I'm actually taking a good hard look at this.
Yeah, and you have to have a bet like that. So it's great. Yeah. However, it's not for me. This one's not for me because the Bears are my NFC version of the Titans. Not that their games can combine or relate all that much, but just on the fact that I don't know how to project this team because of all the things you said about the Bears with all the new playmakers with the second year of Trubisky. I like it. I really do. I'm just really struggling to determine how much I like this team because I went through their schedule and I only gave them 6 wins. So I'm technically under the 6.5. But yeah, once again, not touching it. I love the offensive pieces. Unlike what you
said. Defense, major improvement too as well. I didn't even mention that one.
Right. Unlike you said, like fantasy related, I like a lot of those guys. I don't know where to take them right now just because of so much uncertainty. Like, when's the last time I was confident in the Bears? Like, you had that year with
I'm gonna jump on some Bears.
Marshall and Jeffrey. Like, those were kind of your constants. Since then, I haven't had faith in a Bear. Like, you got lucky with Jordan Howard if you ended up getting him a couple of years ago. Outside of that, though,
he was pretty solid last year. It just didn't seem like it.
Right. Not too bad. But, yeah, I like it. That's your bold pick. That's the pick that you want. I can't get totally behind it, which is
Love
fair.
It.
Let's go on to the NFC South, which Vegas totaled 33 wins, which is tied for the second most. We'll kick it off with the Atlanta Falcons, who Vegas has their win total set at 9.5.
See, with the Falcons, I have them under 9.5 this year. I think they're the weakest team of the top 3 teams. That the 3 teams that made the playoffs, of those 3 teams, the Falcons, Saints, and the Panthers, I think they're the weakest of those 3. I think that's because I just don't trust Matt Ryan. You saw their defense regress last year compared to the year before. I don't think that they're going to be any much better defensively than that. And the whole schedule is tough. They have to go through their own division, which is tough enough. And like I said, I think they're the weakest. So I think they're going to be the struggle out of those three. They're going to struggle the most with the schedule they have, as well as they have to play at Pittsburgh. They have to play Green Bay at Green Bay this year. So it's going to be, and they have to play Dallas at home, and who I think is going to be much improved as well.
Philly
so
right away, and yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I didn't even mention them. So I think it's going to be a tough year for them, and I honestly would be surprised to not see them. I could see them going 500 this year.
Yeah, once again, it's one that I'm not touching money-wise, bet-wise. I guess I'm technically, for the sake of the pod, I'm going under. I've got them finishing 9-7, so I don't really like it one way or the other. We saw how bad they struggled. I shouldn't say bad they struggled, but how much of a great regression they had offensively last year compared to the year before with Shanahan, when they were just like, I think they led the league in points per game, and they were really close in yards per game. So you would think with an offseason they should be a little bit better in the second year without Shanahan. But that division is just so good. I think it's going to be a fight to the end. I see this division just beating itself up. I would say under if I had to go one way or the other. The Falcons were just so disappointing to me last year that it's left a bad taste in my mouth. So I don't want to bet it, but I'd go under for the sake of the show.
Yeah.
Let's do the New Orleans Saints. Vegas has them set at 8.5, which is actually the same as the next team as the Panthers, but let's start with the Saints.
I went over with the Saints. I was kind of surprised. This is one I would bet on for sure. 8.5 wins. I think they win the division. They're just like they finally. This is like maybe the best team. He won the Super Bowl, and I think this team, that last year's team, this year's team is better than the team the year they won the Super Bowl. They just have more balance everywhere. They can run the ball. They can win the game. They can win the game any way you want to win a game any way that they need to, it seems like. With Drew Brees, if he has to go out and air it out, he can do that. But they also have the combination of Kamara and Ingram. Ingram's out 4 games, but he's going to be back after that. So he's going to. I mean, he's been there long enough that it's not going to be an issue.
And he's roided up, so he's strong. He's going to be even stronger when he gets back.
It's not going to be an issue for him to flow right back in that offense. He's been there for 1,000 years.
Yep.
Their defense is great. They're going to keep them in games if they're struggling offensively, which you probably won't see them do a lot. I have them, 10 to 12 wins in my opinion there, even with that division.
Yeah, I got them over. I have them penciled in at 10-6 right now. I like this one. This is one that I'm betting. I'm with you on this one, which scares me because it almost feels like fool's gold again.
Yeah.
Because it's a Vegas trap being set at 8.5, and me and you are both like, yeah, let's jump on this one.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I got the Saints winning the division. And even if they don't, the Saints, you can't tell me they don't have a great chance at getting a wild card spot. And I think in the NFC, you're going to need at least 9 wins for that.
Yeah.
So you're over that win total. Like you said, the defense made a huge jump. They're going to keep getting better. Love the offense. Drew Brees is getting older, but, I mean, who cares? He's not that kind of quarterback that's taking a bunch of hits. He's pretty smart with how he plays. I love Michael Thomas. I still like Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. I mean, they've got it going on. They're so well balanced. I don't see him going, floor-wise, like 8 to 9 might be my floor, and you only have to get one more win than that floor. Saints are one that I'm going to bet on.
Yep.
Let's go on to the Panthers, the other team at 8.5. DJ? I'm here, don't worry.
There we are.
I was gonna say it's gonna sound live that DJ had a stroke there, but he's back to life.
No, froze for a second. Is it my turn?
Yeah, Panthers 8.5.
I got Panthers reluctantly over 8.5. This one's tough to predict. Cam has his new toy and DJ Moore, and what the Panthers are gonna do is they're just gonna wear you out, right? They're gonna run. Like everybody they have the option to run at you with Cam with.
Let me interrupt because you were notoriously not a fan of CJ Anderson, but do you like this landing spot with the combination of having Cam and having CMC who can kind of be that scat back?
No, I don't like C.J. Anderson. I like Cameron Artis-Payne better, but
you're such an asshole. I thought maybe
I like Cameron Artis-Payne.
I really thought you would like C.J. Anderson now.
No, I fucking hate C.J. He's terrible. But I mean, between Cam and I'm going to say Cameron Artis-Payne because I don't give a fuck about C.J. Anderson and Christian McCaffrey. They're gonna come at you a lot of times with the balls, and I think DJ Moore is going to help them go down the field when they do that. After running it 7 times on your throat, they're going to have that play action opportunity, and I think DJ Moore is going to be at the receiving end of a lot of those. And then it just opens up Devin Fun just a little bit more to actually play the 2 receiver, which he really was. Yep. So he's got experience from playing that top guy. I think he'll benefit from having another guy out there that can kind of take some coverage away. And then front 7-wise, they have one of the best front 7s there. They still struggle in the secondary, but when they get to the red zone, that defense just locks teams down if they get there. But they're going to play slow, and they're going to wear out defenses, and that's what they're going to do. So with that strategy, with the way they play, I have them going over, but I'm not going to. I wouldn't put money on that.
Not a betting one. I'm the same way. I'm not betting. I'm going to go the other way. I am going to go under. I've got them at 8-8. I do like the moves that Carolina has made. I'm not the biggest C.J. Anderson fan in the world. I don't know that there's like a person in the world that's like, oh, C.J. Anderson, he's my top running back that I want. I don't think that exists, but I think there's a role for C.J. Anderson in the league, and I think he fell into a perfect spot where he can get a lot of carries, and he can make it so that McCaffrey can still get carries, but he can be more effective in like a slot position or as the running back making plays out of the backfield. So I like that pairing, especially when you add Cam into the mix. Cam can get it done with his arm and his legs. Defense, yeah, I'm fine with. I mean, you can take it or leave it, but they made some nice additions on defense as well, so I think they're going to improve there. It just comes down to the division. It's so damn tough. It's such a tough division.
It is.
That I really like Cam. I'm a big Cam Newton supporter, but just 8.5 wins is a little too rich for me. I mean, I could see him going 500 or maybe even a game or 2 under just because of that division. So, like the under, but not enough to bet on it.
Yep.
Buccaneers, last one, 6.5. Where do you fall here?
The Bucs is another team that I kind of like this year. I thought last year, again, we both kind of liked the Bucs last year. I'm going to stick with them one more year. I have them over 6.5 wins. I'm freaking out here. I think last year was a little bit fluky. I think they had the health issues as well there. They couldn't keep it together. I mean, with a combination of the offensive weapons that they have with Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard, and the other fucking tight end, Cameron
Brate. Just added a running back.
Yeah, and just the athleticism that
with
defense.
Godwin.
Yeah, Ronald Jones they added, and they have the Peyton Barber. He'll probably get his decent share of carries as well. But the second day, I mean, he showed a little bit of he was better than fucking Doug Martin last year. So
yeah, can't argue that. So was Quiz Rogers.
Yeah, that's exactly. So between that and the how athletic with Gerald McCoy and how athletic the linebackers are on defense, I mean, they have maybe some of the best linebackers in the NFL. Guys that just fly around with Levante and Foster, is it the other guy? Is that who it is? Anyways, they've got a pretty decent defense. I think you see a bounce back and kind of more of what we expected last year. I actually think they can be up there with the Falcons and the Panthers trying to fight for a wild card spot because they're just so good there.
It's a tough division, man. This is a tough division, and I think ever since we've started this podcast, I'm kind of a closet Bucs fan. Like, I like the pieces that they have. I'm a big Mike Evans fan. I do support Jameis Winston. I think he makes some dumb decisions, but I think it's there if they could just kind of reel him in a little bit. And if he quit eating his fingers, like, that's not helping anybody. Don't eat your fingers anymore.
Kind of funny to watch guys do that, though.
It's weird.
College basketball teams guys are doing that.
I've got the Bucs going 8-8. I think that might be a little aggressive. I think I might be a little high on them. So I do have them going over 6.5. Not super comfortable on betting it, but I mean, 7 wins isn't all that impressive, and I think they have enough talent. Like you said, the defensive side, they're getting better. I know Brent Grimes is old as hell, and Vernon Hargreaves hasn't really produced quite yet, but if they can get something going there. Offensively, I like Ronald Jones. He wasn't the running back of choice that I would have added there, but they needed to add a running back. They addressed the position. Beggars can't be choosers. Like, I think he's going to get some work there. I like Chris Godwin. Deshaun Jackson I was a little too high on last year, but love Mike Evans. Love the tight end combo. So, yeah, I guess I do like it over. It's one that I maybe would bet on. It'd be a smaller bet, but once again, man, I've said this for every single team in this division. It's a tough division. It's just really hard to.
It is.
It's really hard to give wins away.
It's crazy to think though, because like you look at the teams, like, there's going to be a fight for the wild card as long as the guys stay healthy in this NFC. I mean, you got the Packers and Vikings as long as Rodgers is healthy. Both those teams are fighting the division or for wild card. You've got the Eagles, the Cowboys, they think will be fighting, and then you've got 3 or 4 teams out of the NFC South alone trying to fight for a playoff spot.
Right.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna get pretty wild.
Yeah, pretty wild card.
Pretty wild card. Do you have anything else for the NFC?
Nope. Let's go take a bath.
Sounds good. It's bath time. So thank you once again for listening. If you're not already following us on Twitter, make sure you do so at Loaded Box. Check out the website for our latest blogs, podcasts, fantasy rankings. We're found at loadedboxpodcast.wordpress.com. Next episode, I don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, but I think you're going to want to tune in because we have an idea of what it might be, and it's going to be sweet.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited about that one.
You're going to like it. So,
yeah, it could be interesting. It could get weird, boys and girls. Just be ready to tweet at us.
Yep, all day. Available on iTunes, search Loaded Box, subscribe, rate, and review. And with that, DJ, send us away.
Bye.